Let's take a break from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to look at another Nintendo Switch game, one that's a little over a year old, one that had a lot of press and hype behind it, complete with a vocal theme song, one that would seemingly go back to the open-ended exploration of its predecessors from many years ago, one that could potentially reinvent its long-running franchise roots while celebrating them. That game is the most recent, as of this review, 3D adventure featuring the well-known Nintendo mascot plumber titled Super Mario Odyssey. Anyone who's played, let alone heard of, the main series will surely already know the premise, though it has been changed up somewhat. Peach is kidnapped by Bowser once again, except he's marrying her? Mario makes a good attempt to rescue the princess, but Bowser throws him off an airship. Mario regains consciousness in a kingdom home to talking hats. One of them is Cappy, who finds what was left of Mario's hat from a duel with Bowser and merges with it so Mario can capture/possess creatures and objects. Mario and Cappy travel on their own airship, the Odyssey, and depart from the kingdom with talking hats. Okay, it's called the Cap Kingdom. To explore more kingdoms, find power moons to power the Odyssey, and take on a variety of enemies, including Bowser himself. The way Mario and the other characters and worlds look make for probably one of the best looking games on the Nintendo Switch. The animation is lovely, and the aesthetics beautiful and colourful. All of this runs smoothly, with the only nitpicks being the occasional glitches and clipping, with some of the characters looking a bit too pixelated. And with the sound, there is more to it than the aforementioned vocal theme song, which is called Jump Up Superstar. Each kingdom has its own tune, and any one of them is sure to be stuck in your head. The sound effects are fine too, with each character having their own distinct personality, including Mario's jolly wahoos and stuff. The soundtrack is mostly complimentary if anything else, but it's still well composed, complete with callbacks to past Mario games. The past Mario games mostly set a benchmark in video game history, especially in regards to 2D and 3D platformers. Does Odyssey belong to a Hall of Fame in that regard? Well, first of all, those of you who have played past 3D Mario games like Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and the two Super Mario Galaxy games will surely feel right at home. Mario can run, jump, triple jump, long jump, side jump, climb, swim, wall jump, and so on. But Cappy being Mario's cap adds a new layer of gameplay. Cappy can capture/possess objects and enemies, which allows Mario to be anything ranging from a Goomba or Chain Chomp to a T-Rex, and even a manhole cover? Basically, these open up new areas of exploration and make for a twist on the already familiar 3D platforming concept. Plus, it's just overall fun. Cappy can also be used as a jump point to get to other platforms. The controls also change slightly depending on what you play with, and speaking of the controls, well, there are good and bad aspects about them. Using the control stick and A for basically jumping works the same as before, and is snappy and responsive. You can use the Y button to make Mario throw Cappy in front of him, plus it can home in on characters and objects. Motion controls come into play here as well, but they can be inaccurate. When you want to throw Cappy upward or downward or in a circular motion, sometimes it may not respond to your hand motions. It doesn't happen enough to be a deal breaker, plus the game is beatable without the use of motion controls, but it's still a problem. You have control over the camera with the right thumbstick, but it does occasionally get stuck or give you an unhelpful angle. One last thing to say about the controls is the option of 2-player action, where someone can make Cappy move away from Mario, only within his vicinity mind you, and basically perform the same actions with possession, getting rid of enemies and so on. You may need someone experienced in the field of adventuring to play as Cappy for you because it may not be as easy as it looks. It's still a lot of fun though. The most important and memorable aspects of the game are the structure, exploration, and sense of progression. As mentioned before, Super Mario Odyssey essentially goes back to the open-ended exploration of the oldest 3D Mario games, namely Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine. As fun as the games between Sunshine and this one were, this does feel like a sigh of relief. Much like collecting stars and shines from those games, you will find hundreds of power moons scattered throughout the game. Many are just there in plain sight, but some require some deft 3D platforming acrobatics, not to mention puzzle solving, use of a correct character/object with Cappy, or overcoming boss fights. You can do these in any order, and many are even optional. You go to the kingdoms in a linear progression, where you will come across forks in the path where you can choose a kingdom to visit. And again, the kingdom is your oyster, so to speak. Go after whatever power moons you want. There are boss/story specific ones, and there are a few kingdoms that are so small they only have a few moons tops. It has to be said, this is a fairly easy game. The boss fights are generally easy, and when you die, you only lose 10 coins, which essentially replaces the concept of lives. Coins are plentiful, by the way. For the most part, you don't need lots of power moons to go fight Bowser. much like getting 70 stars in Super Mario 64. Does that mean it is a game for the kids then? Well, yes, but there's a catch. More specifically, a post-game. After Bowser, there are more kingdoms and more power moons. Some of the post-game content will put your gaming skills to the test. Be careful of the bosses or falling off. It can be argued that this level of challenge should have been more prevalent, regardless of the many optional challenges to overcome that are thankfully not shoved into your face. But then again, Super Mario Odyssey is a good game for non-gamers who would surely appreciate a potential challenge. In fact, this game feels like it's for everyone. Probably for Mario fans more so. The callbacks to past Mario games do make this game one for the fans. There are moments where you engage in 2D platformer sections, and with a control stick by the way, and they are in 8-bit just like a historically important Super Mario Bros. You can even buy outfits in shops, some of which are mandatory for some power moons, and again, some of them are references to the past. Even with a surprising inclusion of humans and a T-Rex, amongst other things, this is still a Mario game at heart, and it doesn't need to shove Goombas or Koopas in your face to show that. There is one grandiose moment in the game which really goes back to Mario's roots. Those of you who have already played the game may already know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to spoil it. It can be argued that this game is a great celebration of the Mario games, but more than that, it is an audacious, original and inventive 3D platformer. The flaws, such as the easy difficulty, sometimes inaccurate or frustrating controls and camera, use of coins in both Mario dying and having to buy a lot of stuff, as well as the questionable use of post-content for the bulk of the game, are mostly nitpicks. This is an adventure, an odyssey, a journey, where the journey is definitely more important than the destination. And even today, the use of Luigi's Balloon World, included in an update alongside other outfits and stuff, where you hide balloons for people to find online, and you can find theirs, keeps the game and its sense of community, belonging and history going. Super Mario Odyssey is a more than exceptional Mario game, and a good reason to get a Nintendo Switch if you already don't have one.